Rockefeller coming home from our house. You can say there's no such thing as Rockefeller. As for me and Grandpa, we Grandma got run over by a Rockefeller. Coming home from our house Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as Rockefeller. As for me and Grandpa, we can read. Doom, doom, doom. She was drinking too much eggnog because it had all that damn sugar. Y'all know Grandma got run over by Grandma got run over by a corporation. Y'all know that song? And she staggered through the door because of statin. Grandma didn't regulate her cholesterol. All right, let me stop. This is new. I'm gonna try this. This is a StreamYard. First of all, let me clarify. You cannot hear music. Who's that? Robert Walker. Can you hear music? You cannot hear music, right? I'm gonna try to figure this out. Do you hear the standard Russia presents Sputnik V cuckoo virus vaccine? That will pop up. Not even funny. I think I'm gonna stop laughing about this. I'm about to start to get serious on this cuckoo virus stuff. Although I'm going to talk about the Tao to Ching, I'd like to do part 6 today. Part 6. I really don't want to do cuckoo virus because I'm done with it. I'm so finished. I'm so finished. I think we need to censor media. I think we need to censor our ears from any media talking about the 6% issue, ignoring the comorbidities from the 94% of the population. You know, because their advertisers are behind most of the comorbidities. So I think that we need to censor our ears from their nonsense. Hey, oh my goodness, Professor Fate. Oh, look at this. We got tricks, man. Hey, I got tricks. Jonathan.
Morning.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Okay, hanging in there.
All right, what you drinking?
It's Ayurvedic tea. It's got like turmeric and a bunch of other Indian spices in there. It's pretty good. It's good for morning, detox kind of mood. Yeah.
Ooh,
It's pretty
good.
tasty too.
Detox and tasty. I'm gonna show you what I'm drinking in a minute. I was trying to get people to throw up on my thread this morning. Nobody threw up.
Nobody did.
I don't bother people anymore. I don't know why. I posted my Brussels sprout broccoli smoothie. Well, what is it? Brussels sprouts, broccoli, bananas, blueberries, strawberries, and coconut milk saved grandmama smoothie. And nobody even batted an eye. They don't care about me no more, Jonathan.
Yeah.
They used to get sick.
You're all busy watching the face apps and the videos that those thugs are making out there. We won't mention names.
You know what, Jonathan? I hate to say it. But Harsh got me last night. Beaufont and he got us good last night.
Really?
Yeah.
I must have missed it. I'll check that out.
We were. I think is it called Yiddish? Were we singing Yiddish or something like that?
Yeah. Oh, that one. Yes. The one where you've got the big old beard and the 70s, 70s suit jackets, and yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, he got me. I don't have anything to say. I don't. He shut me up on that one. I have absolutely nothing to say to Harsh. I'm gonna leave him alone today.
I think Beaufont stuffed me in the same jacket he stuffed you in like a week or two ago. So, yeah, that one. Oh, Lord, that one is bad.
Yeah.
Hey, Christine.
Hey, Jonathan. Wow, wonderful. I was hoping you would come on, but I was actually already thinking, probably he will not have time.
I've got a little bit of time.
Good.
Awesome.
Before I have to get to work, so.
All right. Well, let me do this. So far, you guys can't hear any music, right?
No.
Okay. Yeah, this is still weird. I hear it in the background. I have to get used to this new tool. So StreamYard. Maybe Harsh will stop being a little bastard and making face apps, and he'll come on and teach me how to use a tool. Oh, he got me good. He got me good. I have to admit that one was hilarious. I was laughing my butt off. I don't know if I can
Uh-huh.
show it or not. Let me see if I can find it.
Right.
Oh, it was good. It actually was a good one. I watched it about 10 times and I hated myself for watching it. Like, this man is making fun of me and I can't stop helping him make fun of me because it's so hilarious. It was good. I have to at some point in time play with FaceApp. All right. Let me see. I
Right.
think we got a bunch of people already.
Okay.
Uh I can't find it. I can't find it. Anyway, Christine, how are you doing this morning? What's
Oh, I'm
happening
good.
in
I'm
your
good.
neck of the world? Your neck of the world.
Here. I am really not aware what's going on because I have to go to the shop. I went for my car. I forget always my mask. People always leave me in. So I'm totally out of the world outside. I actually almost forget that we have to wear a mask. I lost it anyhow. So yeah, I'm done with that. I'm
I
done with it.
wish we could forget that we have to wear masks. That would be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, but then I took my coat, say, okay, is this okay? If they say, people, you don't come in the shop, yes, I will. Is this good? So anyhow, they need to sell their stuff. So whatever. No,
Yeah.
and I don't know. Yeah, Europe is doing well, and I'm just and Africa is doing well either. Only South Africa is wearing
Mhm.
masks, I thought.
Mm.
So define that though, because when you say doing well, I suspect you don't mean what they say on the news when they say doing well.
Yeah, Tanzania and Kenya, they don't wear masks.
Okay.
Zanzibar, they don't wear masks. They have no COVID, nothing. It's
So
all outside of their continent. I don't know about the other. I don't know about Congo. About that I don't know. Egypt, they don't care so much. Yeah, it's more lighter. It's much, at least it's much more lighter. They laugh, they laugh with it. It's unless not South Africa, but South Africa has been a long time colonized by, I think, the UK and the
yes.
Netherlands. So it's
Yeah,
more
because
there.
of the
It's not
Golden Diamonds.
there. It's not good.
Yeah.
But the other continents, it is. That's why I might think I will go on a holiday for
Okay.
maybe a month to
Mm.
Africa, really, to, to enjoy people who are still have common sense and have a lot of joy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really. And you don't have to wear a mask on a plane to Africa.
That's
No
nice.
Okay.
COVID. You don't need a COVID test. You
Okay.
don't need anything.
See, that means that they're doing good to me. So when I hear and I say doing good, it has nothing to do with a condition that comes from people who don't regulate their cholesterol well.
Mhm.
To me, when I say doing good, is you're not abusing other people because you have a toxic life and you don't want to fix it. I believe in
Yeah.
root cause, prevention. If you can prevent a thing that
Mhm.
ends in the death of hundreds of thousands of people, then you should prevent it. And so people who are interested in not preventing it, they just want to help the organizations who cause these conditions, selling these chemicals and sugars and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't really have any interest in those people anymore. I'm actually starting to get a little serious about things. Like,
Mhm.
actually, I had a great conversation with Sister Lori yesterday. I don't know where this is going to go. So it came down to I don't even know what Yiddish is. What is Yiddish? It's a type of language that they use. I think I might get in trouble, but
Yiddish.
if
Yiddish is from. It is from Israel. They talk
okay,
Yiddish.
yeah. Well, Anna, I don't know if that was a serious comment or a joke, but I'm gonna mention a conversation I had with Sister Lori yesterday because I don't know if I mentioned my position on Israel Palestine. Israel Palestine, I have no position. I have zero position. I have no issue with the Jews or the Palestinians. My issue is ignorant people who pick sides. That's my
Mhm.
problem. My problem is children are born in Israel and they have a right to food, land, oxygen, to be left the hell alone. They cannot be held accountable for their parents. Children are born in Palestine. They need food, land, freedom, need to be left the hell alone. And so I don't have a position on it. My problem is ignorant people who pick teams in a time that we don't have to pick teams. We have enough resources and land for everybody. And so if that's what we're kind of getting to, yeah, I like to make jokes and stuff like that, but we have to stop playing. We got to stop picking ignorant teams. The children of this planet need a new world, and it needs to start with adults growing the hell up and no longer picking teams. So no, I enjoy comedy. I enjoy comedy. I thought it was funny. I mean, I don't do Yiddish. They put they put my face on. Well, let me see. I don't know. I'll show it. I don't really care at this point. If y'all want to see it, then I'll show it. Um, had to wear a mask, irritate. Yeah, well, the whole world is being held up by tyranny, and actually that was the conversation I was having last night with Lori, who puts on the Truth Telethons. Is that apparently she lost a close friend of hers who is Jewish, and somebody was on the Truth Telethon who said some things that person didn't like. And I just think at this point in time, we just have to lose friends, people. I just think at this point in time, we have to stop playing. It's getting
Yep.
serious around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
these
why and
Mhm.
that actually goes along with the Tao. You have really to be centered. I'm trying to be all day centered, and it works very well. It works very well, and you just are just be, and everything outside. You know how to anticipate it in a nice way, and that's it. But
Yeah,
don't consent.
yeah.
I mean,
So
I mean, it does work. I mean, if I keep to myself, my own being, you're protected. That is that is what it means. Following the path of Tao, you're actually protected because you're in the stream of life, which is not bothered by the outside world, and therefore it's you're protected because on the right path. That is totally, I believe. That's what I totally believe. And if I'm not,
right.
yeah, life will show me.
Well, and so balance. And I want to let Jonathan. I want to let you talk for a bit because I know you have to run early. But so balance, and so this is where I always end up, which is we can talk bad about Israel all we want,
Yeah.
but we should talk bad about Palestine too, because I mean, what Coco was saying is true, which is yeah, they have the books where they raise kids to hate people in Palestine. But in
Yes.
Palestine, it's the same thing. Everybody's indoctrinating their children to hate the other side. And I'm not saying it's an equal hate. I'm not, I have no interest in who is doing more hate to the other. My interest is, do we care more about the children or do we care more about being right because we picked a team? And this is why I don't pick any teams with anything. And I think that goes along with some of the teachings in the dad.
Yes.
Jonathan
Yes.
or
No,
Christian
like
would.
yesterday, no identification. Like Sadhguru said, it was a wonderful short clip about him. Your mind still, no identifications. Totally none.
Yes. When you learn to identify with the Tao, then all the name and form that you've believed, that you've been indoctrinated with since the time you were an infant, just drops. And anytime you recognize through your own self-work, you recognize that you are doing the exact same thing that your enemies out there are doing, then you realize, like a Shakespearean character, that
Yes.
you are the enemy, that you are the same as that person that you've been condemning, because you're guilty of the same internal weakness. And that provides, that moment of consciousness provides a moment of strength. And we are then able to step outside of the trauma-based programming of hate and of revenge, and they did this to me, they did this to my ancestors, we've got to go kill them. And we can step outside of that and break the cycle.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Break the cycle.
Yeah,
Break
it's
the
a cycle.
cycle. And this is
And that
where
is
I end up, treading this line where people who, call themselves truthers, which I hate these little silly names, but the most of them are on Team Palestine, Team Hate Israel. And we got to, we really, if either we want to break the cycle or we want to join the other side's bull, right? And
Granted,
this is the same thing.
we need to stop the Israeli government from doing what they're doing. But at
Yeah.
the same
Absolutely.
time, we need to
Yeah.
cure people's spirits, their
Yes.
minds, and their hearts
Absolutely.
on both
Right.
Yeah.
sides.
Right, and so
Yeah.
my example, and I was talking to Sister Lori
Exactly.
last night. It had to do with like white lives matter and black lives matter. It's the same thing. You have a
Mhm.
few psychopaths at the top, a 0.01% at the top of all these groups that drive the insanity, and they profit from war. And even back when I used to do videos with Brother Razek in Palestine, he explained that's exactly how it works. That you have the what is it, the PLO or PLA on one side and the Israel government on the other side, and they work together because they're both kings in this
Yeah.
fight. It's the people who pay the price. And so the thing is,
Hmm.
we have to break the cycle. And that's why I love what you just said, and so we can blame Israel, and then what'll happen? We'll blame someone else. We'll blame America
Right.
for the American empire. Then we blame Russia for the Russian empire. Then we can blame China for the China, or go back in history. We blame Rome for the Roman Empire. Then they built new empires. We blamed Britain for the British Empire. Then they built new. We never took teachings like from the Tao, right? Ancient wisdom
Hmm.
handed down and fix the actual freaking problem. We keep playing team and we keep this
Yeah.
consciousness that goes on. And this is why I love it how, you guys talk about it, spiritual warfare. If you don't attack
Yeah.
these things like a spiritual warfare, you're just going to be chasing your tail, helping the cycle go,
Yes.
not ending the cycle.
And that's actually a
And with this,
sign of enlightenment. You're above all of it. And therefore, I think you have a much more stronger influence on all the people because your compassion is going to everyone, to all people who are,
Mhm.
yeah, who are actually the victim of identities, maybe, just to say it in that way.
But we still struggle with identity. I mean, we all do. But the problem is for me, and this is the problem with the teams, is it means I have to not give a damn about some other kids on another team. And those kids have done nothing to me. Those kids have done nothing to me. So why
Yeah.
in the world would I join a team and both teams are apathetic? Right? This is the same thing. And so but we all struggle with it, right? So I'm not talking down to anybody. I struggle with identity as well, and that's
Yeah.
what led me, Christine, to yesterday's conversation about meditation, right? And how to have stillness of mind. You can't have stillness of mind if you're attached to an identity, because while you're trying to meditate, you're constantly using your intellect to solve problems because you have things to do attached to that identity. But when you have
Right.
no identities, you can have the stillness. And so we as, not just us in meditating, but I think us as a human species, we have to learn how to be still, not join any of the teams and identities so we can actually
Mhm.
break the cycle by fixing the actual problem.
Yeah, and that is
In order,
there are examples in different wars. People who are really have no sides, they have the most peaceful life during a war, and people go there from both enemies to get some relief because they give water to the enemy, the so-called enemy from A or the other enemy B. They will help both people, both soldiers, and those people they don't get attacked either. I mean, there are examples and I cannot mention, but that's what my father said. There were, because of my grandfather, there were people who just received everyone, the Germans in World War II, the Englishman, the Americans one, because they all needed food, they all needed water, they all needed healing. And that's that kind of people. They were not interested in war, and that was more the very older generation because yeah, they were simple people living on in the countryside, minding just their own land, growing food, having cattle. That's what they did. And if there were people hungry, they just gave food. And they didn't care. They were really clear in it. And my father said, we don't care who you are. If you are hungry, you get food. But you don't kill anybody here. No side does kill any other side. But that's actually, yeah, that's actually going above.
Right. Well, and I think,
Mhm.
so I guess what's hard for, a lot of people to see, I think, is that once you pick a team, you're a part of the problem because they need you to do that. This is why Monopoly is set up where you choose characters and they put you off on the Monopoly board, right? And so if we continue to participate in the was it the Japanese or Chinese finger trap, where you pick a team and you start pulling, you're doing exactly what, well, the warmongers want. You're doing exactly what the 0.01% want. That's why they give you identities of black, white, Christian, Muslim, American, whatever. You know, it's we have to break the cycle. And I don't know. I guess I struggle to explain that maybe.
It
And
will be
No, it's clear.
impossible to break the cycle until we stop killing each other, and then start providing food or allowing people to grow food, to build their own shelters, to feel secure again. Because if they are locked in a survival mode, which is a fear-based mode, they're never going to arrive at tranquility. They are never going to see that they are human beings. They are never going to see their enemies as human beings because they're locked in that mental trap, which, of course, we know the cabal has set up deliberately, purposely, first with the resource or the scarcity resource-based economy, and then bombing people out of nowhere.
right.
So until we remove those conditions of disease, the body politic can't heal, you know, physically, and it certainly can't heal spiritually. Hopefully that makes sense. You know,
it does,
because
there's
you know,
spiritual
without
healing.
that,
There's spiritual healing.
without the removal of that fear and that hate to begin with, people aren't going to make connections with their neighbors who for centuries have been enemies. It just won't happen. So, you know, provide people with their basic needs.
Yeah. So
Provide
one
human
of the strategies that people talk about a lot is they employ is, you know, the whole anti-Semitism thing, right? You can't talk about Israel at all, period, in any context that's fair, right? And so why do folks who come from the Jewish background, why do they stand behind that? Because of fear, right? So if they're scared of people who are on the other team who are coming for them, then they're feeding into the trap the same way that people attacking them are, right? And so this is what I see with the whole racial thing and everything. So you have this 0.01% at the top, and people can't seem to blame them. And so they hide at the top of the Jewish community, as well as they hide at the top of the black community. They hide at the top of the other popular. So the whole white privilege thing and white supremacy. So, right, you know, you have liberal universities here who teach hate. They teach race. They literally teach young white folks and young black kids to hate white skin. And so it's what fueled all of this angst and anger in the street because it made racism popular, right? And so, you know, you have a whole group of people attacking anybody who's white in the street. You got young white and black kids attacking, you know, men and women who have white skin who are grown because that hate is just prolific within them. But it's always a 0.01% at the top that drive the scarcity, but people can't seem to see that. And so I think, you know, I'm going to push it back to there was a great talk that Elaine sent me actually this morning about meditation. And so, you know, what he kind of went through is that, you know, meditation is a technology, right? And it's a technology that is proven to reset genes, right? It started talking about the warrior genes and like y'all know I love neuroscience and what those are. And so I think that they turn the warrior genes on in us to get certain responses to keep the cycle going. And a good example for me would be Yemen, right? When I see those kids in Yemen, I lose my stuff. I lose my balance. I lose my stillness because I get angry and I know that it's flipping genes. But in reality, if I go out and I'm like, you know, we need to go kill whoever is doing something, you know, within Yemen, it still feeds into it. Right? We can have a balanced approach to everything, but I think we have to be very careful not to let the imagery to get us to do exactly what the people at the top want us to do.
Yeah, and also in meditation, it even improves your DNA, but in a positive way. It changes your DNA because it gets. My guru says it changes DNA, so it gets rid of all the conditionings. It's actually dissolving all your past, but for your past from different lives, because you're getting out of the cycle of life of always action reaction, and that is by disappearing your conditions. It changes your DNA. She said. I don't know how they can prove it, but she said your DNA is being changed by a good meditation. I mean, you have to try to go deep, really deep, and then it changes, and it becomes much more subtle and subtle and subtle, so you can see literally, true people almost. You don't see the face, but you feel the energy.
Yeah, and so I'm glad that we're having this conversation because so one in the video, I'm not sure if he's a doctor or not, but he does talk about how they prove that they reset gene expression through meditation. So there has been research that's proven that, and I'll share the link for that. But see, I like this conversation because this is where we are today, right? Taking principles and applying those principles to our behavior, so we no longer feed in what keeps this psychopathic consciousness that keeps this world locked into this, path of human extinction. America. So the American empire, it seems like it's being shifted to China. So the whole world blames America. Even we blame, United States Incorporated, the American empire. All the bankers and powerful families do at the top is just take their resources, take their corporations, take their technology and their banks and go to China. And so now we're all blaming America. We're blaming Obama, we're blaming Bush, we're blaming Trump or whoever, Biden, whatever's going on. And so they win every single fight because we can't seem to take the Tao Te Ching, we can't seem to take basic core principles and apply them.
Right.
Yeah, that's true, really. Yeah, you have to apply them. And that's why, the stillness of the mind, don't put a label on people. From where they come, try not to put the label. And I think it's quite challenging sometimes, might be extremely challenging, but then you know how far you are in your becoming a human, I would say. As long as you're easily triggered by, what kind of behavior also, you still are easily influenced by, those 0.1%. So, I mean, it's a challenging way. What I read, Jonathan, you're reading that book also, like Initiation. You're reading it, eh?
Yeah.
From Elizabeth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My God, that lady is deep. Oh my God. If I compare, I mean, I'm just 0.0, comparing where she went through. Amazing how she's totally 100% like pure, pristine on the end. You remember? Mm-hmm. Just no labels, but she went through kind of suffering, but then she has reached her enlightenment in a life before, like in Egypt, and then she fell down by a kind of outside. She fell out of her enlightenment, and she had to go all through from zero to where she became now again. It's really, you should read that book. And then I was comparing myself. Okay, I'm just nowhere yet. But it's a good book. I have
another question.
Yeah.
So from and I think Elaine is actually here, from that awesome talk that she sent me this morning, it talked about innate human goodness, right? And that babies display this innate human goodness, and so do we. That humans innately are good beings. We have goodness in us, and we by default go towards doing what is right and avoid doing what brings pain. Because I don't know if right and wrong exists, but what are your thoughts on that? Are human beings good? And maybe it can rope into the Tao, that's even better.
My guru says when you're born, you're innate good. And like you said, the cloud from identification, from social society, from what everything around us covers it. But actually, it's never. That's it. She calls it innate good is a kind of innocence. She calls it. It's all covered with clouds and darkness, and by meditation we can get rid of it, and then the goodness can flow again. But actually, every child is born innate good. And but it's full, like all the clouds, like we have to, like layers and layers of the onion we need to get to peel again, to get again to the core, and that again relates to the Tao. So, like Guru says, who are you? You're not a body, you're not a mind, you're not emotions, you're not your thinking, you're not your father, you're not your mother, you're not your land, you're not your Christian. We are nothing that. So you go totally to that transparent light being we are. Like, actually, we are actually love, but we covered it all. I don't know, that's how, and that's what I try to reach in meditation when what I try to meditate is getting totally rid of everything. But it takes, yeah. It's not, it's not easy because you have that kind of ambition and it has to come to you. You have to allow it to come. That's also Tao. You cannot work for it. You can only stand open for it because it's not your doing, it's the universal doing who grants it to you. So you cannot grasp it, it comes to you. Something like that. I think, Jonathan, you can explain it more better than I do.
I did respond.
Yeah.
I did respond to your post, Gerard. It was really a thought-provoking post. Basically, you look at human behavior and you look at human psychology, both collectively and individually, and you begin to see patterns. You look at human behavior when human beings are in a group dynamic, and in that situation, typically our fears, our fear of physical harm, our fear of starvation, our fear of the enemy, whoever that is, takes over. But when you get people on a one-on-one basis, people not universally, but basically adhere to natural law and to universal ethics. Now, what happens when we get involved in a group dynamic? I go back to the Greeks and to Socrates and the things that I've been reading in my live casts, and I think they've got their finger on the pulse of human nature right there. That particular aspect of it, where a frightened mob, a frightened crowd of people is a mob, and they will do horrible things. And because they are afraid, they are easily manipulated into blaming those people over there in the next country, or into blaming some scapegoat, like you saw in 1930s Germany with the a certain aspect of the German people blaming the Jews. That's a perfect example. It really is. And this kind of fear-based, cyclical, karmic energy keeps us locked in to this fucking prison that we're in. This mental prison, and then we go out and we justify murdering our neighbors because of some shit they did to our ancestors.
And I do think you're right that some people said there are kind of evil entities, dark powers of demons, and they might be they possess people if they are open to it. And then I think, then I don't know what the goodness about that person then, but they will take charge, and that is something. I don't know what to do with it, but it's in a book of Elizabeth Hay, because we're talking about the witch. Like she said in the book, there's a one chapter, and she was going to sleep and she was on holiday, And then at night she woke up and she saw a kind of a witch, like a dark, but a witch in the way we learn to, a dark figure. And she came through the window and she had an electric wire on her, like an energy, like a dark energy, but it looked like a witch, like it's um, represented like we know with a very strong nose, like a bowed nose and things like that. And there was a wire on, and that wire was attached. That's what they call the broom, but it's a wire. And she saw the wire is attached to the darkness. And those kind of entities, they work also because she experienced that entity wanted to steal her child, the soul of her child. But she's so seeing, so transparent, that she could prevent it by making noise. But anyhow, so in that case, these are dark energies. And also another example of that was like she said she saw another at night or before in awake and before sleeping, but not really sleeping, but almost asleep. She saw some shadows coming into through her house, but everything was locked. But yeah, it was not it was a kind of also a dark entity she recognized. And she felt okay. That's not good. She also started to scream and shout, so it went away. And then she started. It kind of it changed into kind of circle, a ball, like a green ball, like a very green, yeah, ugly ball, like. And so that was also she labeled it as a kind of darkness and evil. And she saw it later on in a movie from Walt Disney that there were ghosts and witches, and they went back and they all came together in the same green ball. And she thought, okay, Walt Disney must have seen it too, because otherwise, how can you present it? How can you draw it like I saw it? So I think people who are extremely sensitive, they might see those things, but that's kind of dark energy. And yeah, that I want to say, that's my thing. Innate people are good, but they are dark energies. That's like the spiritual warfare. I mean,
we have
did you read it?
Fear.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, we have to remove we have to realize where the fear is coming from.
Yes, because it becomes the darkness. Fear, yeah, it will join that dark energy.
And a part of that process of realizing where the fear is coming from is realizing that not all of it is yes, the cabal is taking advantage of our innate fear, and we need to realize that and distance ourselves, cut ourselves off from their influence, and yet at the same time do the inner work of recognizing that we are going to die, and that survival is not what it's about, because no one survives.
No.
To realize that there is something else that is possible for us.
Yes.
And it's really an either or. Either you work on yourself or you will be a puppet of dark forces.
Yeah, and that's and fear actually feeds the dark energy. That's also whatever you have fear, and that's why fear is actually a sin. I mean, my guru said, if you have fear, you're sinful because you feed darkness. But it's
when
also
you're
human.
afraid, because when you're afraid, you do dumb things and you participate in cruelty, in revenge, in thinking it's justified to drop bombs from a B-52 on a village of brown people. Because you're justified.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
And that's
I gotta go. I gotta get to work.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So we should actually first recognize our fear. Maybe that's the biggest work we have to do, to recognize our fears.
We have to recognize it. Yeah, definitely. Did we lose Gerard? Is he off making a smoothie? I hate to leave you alone, but I do need to get to work. Yeah, I've got to teach class. So, all
That
right.
was wonderful. Yeah. Okay.
Take care. Let's
So
do this
yeah.
again. All right.
Yeah, I
Bye.
love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's nice anticipating with you.
Yeah. You too.
So, okay, I
Okay.
hope somebody else come because I don't have
Yeah,
the. If he
let's
plays
do
the tape, it would be good too. But what I have to talk,
it.
I'm not. I
Right.
just cannot
Get somebody else
talk
on there.
about. Yeah. Okay. Have a nice class.
Okay. Thanks.
So
Take
come
care.
on. Yeah. Somebody else come. Okay. Um. Yes. Now I'm waiting actually because I have nothing to talk about. If I don't have the tape, I would love to hear the tape, and then I can talk and see how I understand it and can bring it to you. But and I don't see comments because on my side of my computer there's only white. I only see myself on the screen and the comments. Yeah, the comments on the screen. Yes. Yeah, children who are being cruel is actually very. Yeah, I don't like to see it either. But I think you can more easily correct them than you have adults because they're still very young. That behavior in a child can be corrected. So come on, Gerard. I don't know what to say now. I'm just here and and I even don't know. I have to put on my phone because I don't see any kind of comments, not even from the side. Okay. See, this is weird. So actually, I can talk because now if Gerard is not here, I can talk a little bit. Maybe he will put me out anyhow. But if I talk about according what I know or what I think is the right way for me, it is when we want to get rid of our identities, and that's what I try to do in meditation. And I told already in live course before, and maybe I can explain it now because otherwise I don't know what to tell about, is we have actually invisible three channels in our body. And there is energy. There's a channel on the left side of the body, and we call it the moon channel. And there is a channel on the right side of our body. We call it the sun channel. And then there is the center channel, and that is actually the Tao or the divine channel. Or we call it the channel where the Kundalini actually can rise. So I just want to explain my how I do it. So you don't have to believe it. You better don't believe it because blind faith is never good. So you have to experience it. So when we try to meditate, we try to focus on our center channel. But while we meditate, we feel, okay, I'm full of emotions. That's the left channel. The moon channel is actually related to our emotions, to our desires, to the past, to events and traumas which are not totally, still are there, which are not healed totally. But also, it's also the soft channel. It's the channel that can feel, the emotional channel, who has empathy and compassion and can sense very deeply. So it's positive. So it's both good. And you have to desire something if you want to live. Living without desire, most people have desires. Otherwise, you have no will to live. So that's the moon channel, we call it. And it's the more receiving channel. But also when the moon channel is overburdened, we feel overwhelmed by emotions. We feel ourselves the victim of our circumstances. And that's where we're gonna blame, okay, I've raised up in this situation, I have these parents, or I have this work, or I have this, and that's why I am a failure, that's why I'm not doing good, and I can't do anything about it, and I'm just being a victim. So you get stuck. And then when you really totally get stuck, you get into a depression. That's also on the left side. And then that channel gets frozen because it's not movable anymore. You get stuck. So that's the moon channel. On the other side, we have the sun channel. And the sun channel is on the right side. That's actually the channel. It's actually the more masculine channel also. It's the channel of planning, of action. When we desire something, we have to give answer to that desire and we start doing something. So in that case, we are planning our day. We want to, like for simple things, okay, we want to hike in a cold weather. What do we need? That's planning. We need good clothes. We need good hiking shoes. We need all that kind of stuff. So we have a nice day outside in the cold weather. For them, that's planning. If you don't plan anything, you might go outside in your pajama. Yeah, that will be not a very sensitive thing. So you need to plan. So it's actually also, when your action and you want to overthink everything, so like over planning, then you get also a little bit lost in over planning because by the time that your planning is done, you don't feel anymore like, okay, I'm not going to do it. Like if you're going, for example, to swim and you need your bathing suit and you want to know if the weather is good and you're waiting, like everything has to be perfect, like I would say. And when everything has to be perfect, it is never perfect, so you don't start doing it. It's even when you have a big plan. So you want to do something, you want to learn to dance, or you want to start teaching. When you always think like, okay, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. So because there's always an excuse for not doing something. So on the end, you don't start doing it. That is when you start overthinking it, being busy with what you're wanting to do, but you don't come to do it. So then you lose all spontaneity. So then you're stuck. But and then also the sun channel is more to the future. It's more like you're always thinking about the future. You don't think about what I'm going to do next year, where I want to be, whom I want to be with, where I want to live. You're always being in the future. So that's also like too much. And if you're extremely far in the right channel, because there are kind of levels, like you go in the very level on the left side, and if you go really, then you want to dominate everything because everything has to be according your will. That's when you have the tyrants in society. They have their rigid ideas how it should be. There is no inspiration from from divine or from whomever. They just have their ideas and it should be like that, and if you don't follow it, they will punish you. So that's extremely right-sided. And you have the tyrants. And so if people are extremely right-sided, other people suffer from it. So that's too much in the sun channel. If people are too much in the left channel, in the passive channel, then too much passive, they go to depression, then only they suffer, but other people don't suffer. Maybe they have compassion, but they don't suffer, but you suffer. So it's more dangerous being in the right side for the environment than being in the left side, but both is not preferable. So when you go in the center channel, that is when you have then you're on the path of Tao. So you try to focus the energy, which is, we call it Kundalini. And Kundalini is based down on your spine, on the sacred bone. It has actually kind of a shape like elephant ears. That's a sacred bone. And it is linked to Sri Ganesha. If you want to know a little bit from where I got this knowledge, it's to Sri Ganesha. And other deities, I will talk maybe later. But anyhow, so Sri Ganesha is actually the first chakra. So the Kundalini is there. So whenever we want to provoke the Kundalini, we have to totally become still of the mind. So we have to get rid of the excess of emotions and excess of thinking, of planning. When you're there, then the Kundalini, it rises by somebody who has has already a strong Kundalini. So on yourself, you can, most of the time, it is not possible. But for example, I had my guru. She has totally 100% awakening of the Kundalini, 100%. Maybe I have a little bit, maybe 0.1%, maybe 1%, I don't know. So she awakens it, and then it goes through the center channel, starts from the bottom, it goes through the 7 chakras, and then it comes here. And then it enters out of the head, the skull, and then you can feel it as a slightly cool breeze coming out of your head, which is actually also what Jesus did when he raised from the dead. He saw his disciples again, of apostles, and he raised their Kundalini, and then you see it was represented as flames on their head. But that flames, and you see it in many cultures back, not only in Christian culture, but that's the Kundalini who is nicely awakened. But in most people, it's dormant. But now in this time, because the level of awakeness is much higher, the Kundalini can rise much more easily. So and when it rises very hard, you are totally open for divine inspiration. And if you're open for the divine knowledge, you connect actually. That's union, that's yoga. Yoga means connecting with divine energy, however you want to call it, because for some people, God has a negative wording because they have suffered from strict education, extremely repression. Then you don't want, but you can call it intelligence or whatever. It's the nourishing motherly energy. So as it is represented in the Tao, it is called the nourishing energy, which is Kundalini. It's the mother. You can call it as the motherly energy. It's the nourishing. So when Kundalini is free to rise, it goes up and it enlightens your brain. So then your brain gets enlightened, and then you get like people who have a strong enlightening, the good gurus. I mean, I don't know about Sadhguru, but Sadhguru, he speaks about the stillness of the mind, and he says when you need a thought, you take a tool and you take, but he is not identified with nothing. So therefore, he was not influenced from birth. I think sometimes he talks. So he uses his mind when as a tool, but it's not overwhelmed by 100 million thoughts, because that's what we do. But we can learn it slowly by slowly. And for example, you can. I'm still. Okay. You can. I can raise the Kundalini. So if you can raise your Kundalini with your hand, and you bring it up, and you go it up. If you have somebody in your environment whose Kundalini is raised, and then it goes to the 7 chakras, and every chakra has a quality. And the first chakra is the quality of wisdom, of innocence, of wisdom, innocence, and chastity, and joy. Like but you have to rate it to the Indian, the Indian deities. So, and every chakra has a deity, and that energy from the deity, which are those deities are pure, that can be invoked by the Kundalini who goes through it. So, if we are learning to get rid of all our labels, identities, then those qualities will just emerge, and then the innate goodness comes out. And that's actually the coming age where we can be there. So I can talk still further, but Gerard, I don't know, am I talking for myself or am I talking to a public? It says still I'm in the show. I don't see any kind of comments. I don't see, okay. So Gerard, can you please let me know if I'm talking for myself, if I'm talking to the public? So, yeah. Anyhow, okay, I'm talking further. So if it doesn't matter, it says here still it's you're in the show. So if we go to the 7 chakras, maybe I can talk a little bit about the chakra, and maybe I do maybe once a meditation. So if you have the first chakra, so it's the basic where the kundalini is sleeping, if it's not arising. But when we awake it, it can slowly go up. And the second chakra is actually about knowledge. When you have the book knowledge and you have the innate knowledge, the knowledge from the Vedas, from the scriptures, the pure knowledge. And when that when that is awakened or more cleared out, because the kundalini clears all the chakras out. How more it can rise, how stronger it gets, it clears all the dirt, all the clouds, whatever doesn't need to be there, it will be it gets off. So you get actually free from your labels. So it makes you extremely free. That's actually the freedom of humankind can be only happen from within. Otherwise, we always be ruled by something outside us. So, and those people who understood it, like Socrates, was actually an enlightened person. You have a lot of Indian gurus who are enlightened. There are a lot of many. Shakespeare was enlightened. You can see, like actually the talks that Jonathan does, his choices of literature, most of them are from enlightened people. So they know, they have the deep wisdom in themselves. So maybe they don't know they are, but they have the kind of enlightenment. Maybe not like a Buddha, not like, but I mean, I think Shakespeare was a strong enlightened one. Khalil Gibran, very strong enlightened. His wisdom comes also from far. So anyhow, so those people who are getting stronger and stronger nourishment from the motherly energy, yes, their wisdom speaks to everybody. That's why books like the Tao Te Ching, they can survive centuries. Books who has no knowledge of no practice, not good knowledge, they will disappear. They will not be kept by time. So, like throughout ages, good knowledge is preserved. And what is not good knowledge, nature destroys it, because nature and Mother Earth is also an intelligence. Nature knows what's good. Animals actually also, most of them knows what's good, what's not good. They cannot speak it out, but they have no other choice than following their path, because they don't have the they don't have their own willpower, so they're more under control from the creator, actually, or the divine. But we got the free will. That means we can choose whether we go on the right path or on the wrong path. But so actually, and the goal of humankind is actually again to reach that divine, godlike knowledge, godlike, the joy, the light, the truth. That is actually where we all should go. And the absolute truth is always absolute. It doesn't change by trends or by fashion. It's always absolute. And that is love, joy, and truth. That actually could be equal. And so that's the second is knowledge, and that's ruled by Brahmadeva Saraswati. Then we have the third chakra. It's the Nabi, and it's Indian. It's called the Nabi that's where we all are. I think all this group. That's the sea of the void. So we are looking for the truth. Everybody is a seeker, what we call true of need. So, but then there's a whole void we have to cross to the spirit, and that is the light. And when we are there, then we feel it. But before we are there, we can see ourselves on an ocean, and sometimes the boats lands on the banks of a river, then the boats goes there, but it's going like this. But when it reaches to the heart, and then we have actually then we reach the spirit. And that is and the spirit is located in the left side, on the left channel, because the spirit is pure love, and the spirit is Shiva. So let's write Sadhguru is called Ishan. Ishan is another name for Shiva. So he has that, for him, he says in one of his talks that he is has no saying over himself. It's Shiva who speaks to him. Because when you're totally enlightened, it is actually the divine that speaks through you. You forget about your own identity because you have lost your ego, actually. So you have not lost your ego in the way that you are helpless, but the ego that tries to rule you. And yeah, that is, and that reminds me of Shiva, but that's the spirit, and the spirit goes to your heart, from your heart to your brain, and the brain gets enlightened. And every chakra is also related to a country, but when we reach the heart, then also every chakra has three sides: the left, the right, and the center. But I say maybe too much knowledge. And we go to the throat, and that's the Krishna. That's actually collectivity. When we are here, we can, when this is clear, we speak wisdom, we speak sweet, and we speak wisely. And the throat chakra, I'm just maybe, is related to the continent America, whole the continent. So actually, America has the duty to bring wisdom all over the world. Like that's actually the duty. But whatever, every country, England is related to the heart. So England, UK, they should invoke wisdom and the love and the truth. But every country is mesmerized. So actually, Belgium is related to peace. But we have we have the EU. Like all those qualities are in each country, and they should be invoked. And when we're all enlightened, they can be invoked. So, but that's the throat, and that's Krishna, and then we go, and this is the sixth chakra, and this is the chakra of Jesus. Jesus is the energy of Jesus in this chakra, and he is the gateway to the divine. So whenever, then this is our thinking. This is most difficult to cross because we have our identities. They're all stuck here. And when we get rid of the identities, it's like the energy of Jesus opens this channel and it goes, and then you get a connection. But that is how I meditate, and I try, and for every chakra there is a mantra, and I try to be still. And then a little bit, I feel then a little bit kind of vibrations. But some people are very deep, and then it's like it's a lot of vibrations. You can feel that, and I can even feel some of you people. I can feel also vibrations. So everybody has a little bit enlightenment, and also when people talk, if I feel vibrations, then you're talking. The energy is good, and it's that is there is something very truthful in it. So I can always relate easily. More, okay, yeah, this feels good, this doesn't feel good, but you learn by doing it, and we all make we all make mistakes. But that is shortly explained how I meditate. So, so yeah.
Meditation is huge. It's everything. I think
Yeah.
that we can go back and forth all we want on what we can do to fix things until people fix their soul, until they fix their
Yes.
consciousness, until they fix themselves. It's pointless because you won't have the ability to have that neutral space, reducing identity in teams to actually solve things. So, did you want to jump into the Tao?
Yes, let's
We
do
want
that
to
now.
like to
Yeah, I didn't
finish
know
it.
where you were, and I thought I'm just talking to myself, but the Tao
I,
is relating with. Okay, let's do it. So, yeah.
I appreciate that. You carried it very well. All right. I think this should work. Let me know if you guys can hear anything because this is new.
One who understands others has knowledge. One who understands himself has wisdom. Mastering others requires force. Mastering the self needs strength. If you realize that you have enough, you are truly rich. One who gives himself to his position surely lives long. One who gives himself to the Tao surely lives forever.
Yeah, it's like it's more easy to control others than control yourself. It's more difficult to have the wisdom and the knowledge of yourself. We have to go totally within to see, yeah, the self-discipline, I would relate it, and yeah, allowing, yeah, eternal life is when you reach again, when you are following the path, you are not doing anything. The path is leading you, and that's eternal. And I relate that to, yeah, the love, the light, the Tao. So if we don't have any kind of desire of dominating other people, we just are in the present, we are being, our presence is enough to feed other people, to give what, yeah, our actions become spontaneously without conditioning from outside. So I'm very sensitive people. They feel immediately what somebody needs. They don't force their help, but they will anticipate when it's necessary, I would say. I have nothing else to add to this. So next. Okay, it's yeah, maybe we can just be still and let it I'm waiting now. So
To the next section.
yeah, next section. Yeah, I just left space, emptiness between.
The
But it's
great
good.
way is universal. It can apply to the left or the right. All beings depend on it for life. Even so, it does not take possession of them. It accomplishes its purpose, but makes no claim for itself. It covers all creatures like the sky, but does not dominate them. All things return to it as to their home, but it does not lord it over them. Thus it may be called great. The sage imitates this conduct. By not claiming greatness, the sage achieves greatness.
Yeah, I think it's again we can that wisdom is available for us. That path is available for us, but it does not force itself on us. It gives us the freedom to walk the right way or not. Yet it is still nourishing us all the time. Whether it does not need our confirmation, it does not need our approval. It is always there. And how more we tap into that stream, how more yeah, we're in union with it. It's like we don't claim, yeah, they are who they are without claiming they are, yeah, they are wisdom. They just are. It's, I think even when you say I am wise, maybe it's already something your ego says, but being it is something different. That's how I can relate to it.
So I go to the comments here. I'm running
Yeah.
back and forth, and I appreciate you carrying it. No, I'm at slavery today, so things take over, and I must go do what I must do. Because if we don't eat, we die. So
Yeah, true.
I appreciate everybody being patient, but thank you for taking it over. If you want to join the conversation, you absolutely can. Just send me an inbox.
Yeah. You must seek, yet you're not seek. True, Riley. It's like that. You must seek, but yet you don't be ambitionate. Just let it come to you. It's both. You have to have this desire. It's better explained. You have to have desire to find the path, but you don't you cannot force it. You cannot force the path to come to you. You have to be open to it. You have to allow yourself to let it come to you. It's like the voice of God, of whatever the inner voice is speaking. It's very soft. You have to be totally still to hear it. That's allowing it totally still.
And know that you'll seek and you'll never find.
Yes.
It's a lifestyle. When you run into people, when I run into wise people, I go the other way. When I run into people who figured it all out,
Yeah.
and that's the end of it.
That's the end.
And
that's how people fall from very high to the depth. That is what my guru always warned. From the moment you think I'm there, you just fall from the highest rock down again. So it's might be not easy. Yeah, don't go looking for the path everywhere or you will be lost. True.
Okay, I was gonna bring Mike in.
Oh, yeah,
I tried it. I think it's safe to do this. I'm not sure. Sometimes I do stuff that's not safe. This may not be safe. We'll find out. But yeah, if we want to bring, if anyone else wants to come in.
Yeah, true. Because I'm.
Can.
Yeah, I think yes.
I'm gonna do the next section. All right. Let it be a natural process. Don't force it. Absolutely, and don't force other people too, right? And that's really how I try to operate as much as possible. Is I'm only worried about me. I'm only worried about my own mirror. I only need to fix me. There's nobody else out here I need to fix. And I share with people what I'm fixing about myself. And that's about it. All right, next section.
All men will come to him who keeps to the one. They flock to him and receive no harm, for in him they find peace, security, and happiness. Music and dining are passing pleasures, yet they cause people to stop. How bland and insipid are the things of this world when one compares them to the Tao. When you look for it, there's nothing to see. When you listen for it, there's nothing to hear. When you use it, it cannot be exhausted.
How bland are the things of the world in comparison to the Tao? Hey, I think, is it hard to hear me? We're still trying to figure this new platform out.
For me, it's very clear.
It is clear? Okay. No, the bland things in the world. And this is where I'll give my perspective on releasing the trash that we call valuable things, right? The consumerism, the junk food, the cars, the houses, the money, the ego. When you release all of that crap and you start to find your true self,
it comes to you.
It comes to you. And so when I hear that, I've never been happier in my life. And I have the least I've ever had, right? I had everything. It was being flown all over the world by corporations, making all that money, picking the house I wanted to live in and the cars. And I was dead. I was dead on the inside. I think that when I hear that, it tells me that when you engage in monkey world and you think everything's about toys and shiny things and bananas, you'll be dead on the inside. This world is designed to kill you. This world is designed to make you bland and useless. But when you tap into your root self, when you start tapping into this universal consciousness, you'll find a joy that you've never known. There's no way in this world. Nothing terrifies me more, Christine. I'll be honest with you. Nothing terrifies me more right now than in the shutdown economy than the idea that I might have to go back and work for the corporations I left. I'll have to take my skill set, my knowledge, and my abilities and go back and make a lot of money working for the industries everybody wants to work for. Nothing terrifies me more. And this is part of why I'm not really against the Civil War.
No.
I wish I could tell you I'm against it. I'm not. I'd rather go to war than go back to work in corporate America.
Yeah, and if you leave, like you said, you leave the path and everything will nourish you. Whenever you leave that mundane path of death cult, I think nature nourishes you in every way. And you should not join it. Whatever it takes, never join it again. Never.
Yeah. That's terrifying, and I know that sounds crazy to people, but it's you have to live it. I think when you really get down and you dance with the dark demons, it changes
Yeah.
your soul. It rots you from
Mm.
the inside. But it's like the saying goes, pigs don't know pigs stink. Back then, you couldn't tell me I stunk.
No.
You couldn't tell me that I was, in bed with dark spiritual energies and consciousness, uh,
Mhm.
uh, uh, buying all the crap in the TV commercials and consumerism and having money. I don't want that.
Mhm.
That's
And
evil.
they're innocent.
Hmm.
Those people don't know. The people who work for it, they don't know. They just work for their living. Most people, I think, work for their living because they're ignorant. But at some point, it might, yeah, you wait. I think they will wait. They awaken. They awaken, and the universe
Yeah,
provides.
it does. It does. And so the funny thing about that, the universe provides what brings you joy.
Yes.
Big corporations provide what makes you happy. The difference is happy is a
Yes.
hit. Happy doesn't bring you to joy. Happy is like taking a hit of the crack pipe, right? Because the
Yes.
car is never fast enough. The house is never big enough.
Yeah.
The shoes are never expensive enough. And so people get in this path and they'll never get to joy
Yeah.
chasing happiness
It's
or
never.
chasing
Yeah.
the things that make you happy.
Yeah.
So I think the universe provides what brings your soul joy and
Joy.
it's
Yes.
perfect.
And
But you
then it's
have to release.
satisfaction. It brings
Right.
contentment and satisfaction, and happiness is never satisfies. It's always want more, more, more. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
I like what Anna's saying, and this is something a conversation I was having with someone earlier today, which is we're witnessing the end of big pharma. I don't know if people
Yes.
can feel it. I feel it. I feel it. I don't feel any despair. I don't feel anything bad.
No.
We're witnessing doctors turning on 11 years worth of study, 30 and 40 years
Yeah.
worth of practice. They're saying this is wrong. We're going, oh my goodness, Lord have mercy. Just this morning, brother Al Hernandez. A lot of y'all have had discussions going back and forth with him. He is the most pro-vaccination person I know on this planet. Period. Bar
I
none.
don't
And I
know
know a
him.
lot of my friends have been arguing. They don't bother with this kind. You know what he posted this morning?
No, I didn't
We need
know.
we need to be careful and something to the effect of not taking the rushed experimental vaccine. Blew my mind. I said, whoa, blew. I was thinking that an alien
Wow.
took over. But the thing is that, right now, the people who work in the industry, they are now being forced with the decision of, do I continue to support an obviously corrupt industry that's trying to do something nefarious that my body's going to be included on? See, there's a difference, and I don't know if Al even works in the industry. I'm not talking about, I'm talking in general.
Mm.
When you're giving it to patients, is one thing. When you're
Yeah.
being told and you're being held to
Yeah.
account that you've been giving this to babies for I don't know how long, and the military and other people, now that you have to take it and you can't say no in order for you to be a doctor, a nurse, a medical professional, that's why they're standing up. And it's a great thing.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
a
great
great
thing
thing.
because big pharma has to go away. It cannot continue to exist in a Rockefeller medicine format. Everything can't be for profit. You can't make
Yeah.
money off of killing people or keeping them just sick enough that a flu will kill them.
Yeah, yeah, and I appreciate those doctors because they have 11 or how long do they study? And now they become humble and they say, this is not good what we are doing. I mean, it takes courage. It takes a lot of courage. So all those people who come like you too, you come from very high positions and then you go to a simple life. It's much more, I mean, it takes a lot of courage and I mean, yeah, bow to those people. It's wonderful. And now everywhere it is like it is. They are questioning it, and I think because the level of energy is rising, the yeah, the awakening is so strong, you can't stop it anymore.
Well, it's a flood, and this is the beautiful thing is, I just think they're so desperate that they weren't making enough money on what they already had, and they did their only win to keep growth going the way it was is to force their product on everyone and not be held account, and so now they're doing that, and they're making enemies not only all throughout the medical industry. Everyone who's lost their job, lost their business,
Yeah,
people who are actually starting to pay attention to the fact that this is an illness that came from comorbidities that they caused or they ignored.
yeah,
You that pendulum is swinging back. And
Yeah.
when the pendulum swings back, it's going to swing hard. I think government is going to end up losing a lot of power. A lot of these governors
Yeah,
are
I
going to
think
be
so
sued.
too.
They're going to lose their jobs. They're going to lose their houses. They're going to lose, I think government's going to lose power overall, all throughout the world. We're witnessing a civil war of
Yes.
people turning against an industry that claims it has power over their rights to life.
Yeah, yeah, this is really the turning point. It's really, I think we're witnessing the end of Kali Yuga. Can have a strong struggle a little bit, but it's really the end. We are now entering actually in Satya Yuga, they call it, or yeah, the golden age. And I think, yeah, it's actually, yeah, it's an amazing time. I don't know how the struggle will be because yeah, how it will people need to find themselves and how to rebuild a society, but they're totally new technologies, like you say, like your dream is to write programs like in harmony with yeah, nature. And I think that will be the new age, people just living from themselves out of their knowledge for the benevolence from whole society. So it's just bottom. It's no the here the structure from down to top will disappear. It's
Mm-hmm.
falling. It's crumbling down totally.
It is. It is, and we have to demand it. I'll say it's not my dream to write software for green drones, growing food, building homes, 3D printing things. It's not a dream. It's an act of terrorism. I'm a terrorist. There's no way on this planet I'll ever go back for working for corporate America,
Yeah,
right?
no.
Helping pharmaceutical industries and chemical industries and government take away the last semblance of rights that my children have or the future. No, I'm a terrorist when it comes to that. I'd rather die. You're never going to get me engaging with dark energy again. And I'm not telling anyone, once again, what to do. I always pull it back and just say that that's where I am in my life. Right? If you work in corporate America, if you are in the medical industry or pharmaceutical, you have to seek what you need to do and when you need to do it. I think everybody in this has a
Yes.
place and a time, and if you try to do what someone else does in their space and their time, you're going to fail. You
Yes.
have to search your soul for what you can do and when. And it's just where I'm at right now. Is I'd rather be in a civil war than ever go back to living a privileged, wealthy or leaning towards becoming a supremacist in this life. I'll never do it again. I'll never do it
Yeah.
again. So I'm done. My point was, it's not a dream for me. It's the only thing. I'm never going back. I'm never going back to hell and being a demon. I mean, I'm in hell, but I'm never going to go back to being a demon. I'll stay in hell with my little. I don't know
Yeah.
if I got angel wings yet, but I damn sure gave up the bifurcated tail and the horns.
No, I think
Sorry.
you're okay. Everybody has his own path, and I think, yeah, I think it will work out. But maybe, yes, people who are now losing their job, they have to take their vaccines. Now it's going to be a little bit rough, I think, because was it not Biden or who said it? Biden? I don't know. Yeah, I heard something like everybody has to take now their vaccine. I mean, it was Biden,
Oh
and
yeah, he can say anything he wants. Oh, just go on, brother. Keep on talking. You can say anything that you like. Another conversation I left this morning is just people need to be very careful of the things they cheer. When you let some dragons out the box, you can't easily put them back in. And when you agree that you are going to force medicate millions or billions of people on this planet, and you got your face diaper on, locked in your house, and you think that this is going to go well, and you think people just need to lay down and take it, after a mass conflict gets started, you can't just put that genie back in the box. You just won't be able to put that dragon away. And so I think we all need to really think about the positions we're in and who and what we are supporting. Because if you don't want a civil war fought, people aren't going for it. Like right now, my country, or what is it? Last statistic I heard, which actually was this morning, again, it was 49% in the last poll said they aren't going for it. The American Revolution was fought on 10%. And the vast majority of those people are religious people. they're not going to do it. They'd rather
No.
die. And so, and this is the point I'm making is people like, oh, just put on the mask and just stay in your house. You don't have any idea what's going on. You're completely out of touch with the reality of where most of us sit. And that's religious people. We're not talking about the hippies. I'm both. That's why I'm a little extreme. I'm religious
Yeah.
and hippie. Well,
No,
I'm
no, I feel.
spiritual and hippie, but I'm never going to live under
Yeah.
the rules of big
Yeah.
pharma. I'm never going to live with their drugs and synthetic things in my vein. They'll have to kill me first.
Yeah, it's very accurate because, like I was talking about vibrations, they're pouring out of my head when you talk. So, see, it's really, it is like that. It's, yeah, people, yeah, they have no idea, but I really think most people won't take it, I think. I don't know. But if they
Well,
do,
it's a
that's a
choice.
choice. It's a choice.
It's a choice, and then you
It's
say
always.
that, and people say, "Well, no, it's not a choice; it's forced." Well, yeah, if they own you, but to me, once again, slavery is a choice.
Yeah.
You pick and choose. No one has any right to. Now, are there consequences for defying
Yeah.
jive and Bowden? Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
And whether or not you have to decide if you're willing to pay those consequences. Me personally, I'm willing to pay every consequence it comes from not putting something in my vein because you don't want to tell people to not be toxic, eat sugar, and have cholesterol systems that aren't naturally balanced, so that when the flu comes through, that clotting with the extra clotting it does kills people. All you got to do is, you go after Hershey, you go after Twinkie, you can go after all of these Intamins and these companies producing all this sugar that's giving everybody cardiovascular disease, which ends up being the number one comorbidity. We can live honestly or we can all die. But I'm fine with us all dying, and I'm fine with us living honestly, but I'll never live dishonestly.
Yeah. And that's the path of the eternality that the Tao says. You choose for eternality. So you're always on that path. If we die, it doesn't matter actually. I mean, the energy never dies.
Right.
And you
And that's
will.
energy never dies, and I want to make sure anybody who's new who doesn't know me, I'm not talking like a revolutionary. I'm not talking like a violent person. I'm not. I'm a peaceful person. You've made war on us, right? You have decided that it's a good idea to get behind people who have military armies and pentagons, that we need to be held down and have something injected in our bodies. That's an act of war. You brought war to our door. If anything, we are simply responding by saying no, and that will go where it goes. So, and it's just people that when they hear you talk at a certain level, they think that you're talking violence, and we're not. We are the abused. We are the ones that you are lining up to come abuse us because you don't want to give up your toxic lifestyle and the toxins you put in your body. You can make that choice, but
Yes.
you're never going to put the dragon back in the box. So I would prefer that we all step down, take a look back and a long draw in the mirror, and ask ourselves who we aligned with. Are we aligned with abusers? Are we aligned with criminal corporations? Or are we aligned with the human race?
Yeah, that's
All
be
right, we'll do
yeah.
the
You
next
have to be.
section.
Yes. Is somebody else want to come because I'm sick about myself hearing talking.
Okay,
But
well, no, that's good. I mean, you want to do one more section, or do you need to go now?
I do one more section and then I'll go because
Okay. Okay. If somebody wants to come on, I think I'm
yeah,
gonna
if
walk
somebody
as well.
yeah.
What's that? We're
If
getting good
somebody wants to
today.
come, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go if somebody is waiting.
We're almost no, nobody's waiting. We're almost halfway through, so let's do one more
Okay.
section.
Yes.
Okay.
Should you want to contain something, you must deliberately let it expand. Should you want to weaken something, you must deliberately let it grow strong. Should you want to eliminate something, you must deliberately allow it to flourish. Should you want to take something away, you must deliberately grant it access. The lesson here is called the wisdom of obscurity. The gentle outlasts the strong. The obscure outlasts the obvious. Fish cannot leave deep waters, and a country's weapons should not be displayed.
I think like if we let them play out their power game relating to society, it will crumble by itself down. That's what I get out of it.
There you go. There you go. That is not what I got out of it, but you put the pieces together for me. I was struggling. You nailed it. We were talking about that this morning. You nailed it. Give me your perspective, then I'll say something. No, guys, say go ahead. Or was that all you had?
That is what I was thinking. For me, like if the enemy is so strong, it will lose its power because it's totally how do you say? The power is so strong. We stay still, it will crumble by itself. And when the flood of the sea, when there's a tsunami, it is so rough, but it will recede very strongly later. So we cannot. It's stupid to act now and fight against the force because it will take us. Let it destroy itself. I think that's what I
Consume
believe.
itself. It is consuming itself.
Yes,
Do you need to run or do you want to finish this?
I can finish it.
Okay. So what's blowing my mind, what you just said, the conversation that I just had this morning, one of the brothers asked me, when will this come to an end? And sometimes I have great thoughts. This was one of those moments. I don't know where it came from,
Yeah, you
but
do
I
have.
don't. Meditation is weird. Somebody's putting stuff in my head because I don't come up with these things. Um, it will poison itself, right? You let it poison itself. Cronyism has gone out of control, and cronyism in this industry is gone. When will it eat itself? It's what we just said, which is what you just said. When the people who are cheering the poison being put on other people have to take the poison from itself, it will eat itself, right? And so right now, the poison that was being pushed on everybody else, now that the people who are pushing that poison, call them pro-vaxxers, are now facing whether or not they and their children will be forced down in a bed and injected as well, and they don't want to do it.
Yes.
And the truth is being revealed because when you empower dark, corrupt energy, it's like abuse. Abuse is dark energy. Abuse is negative energy. It's a negative vibration. It's never okay and it's never good. I'm not pro-vax. I'm not anti-vax. I'm not pro this or that.
No.
I am anti-abuse. If you decide that you want to abuse somebody, you and I have an issue because I can't let you abuse any of my 7 billion cousins on this planet, period. And I apply that across the board from abortion to gun rights to you being sovereign and doing what you want to do on your own land to you doing schedule whatever it is, schedule one. Abuse is the problem. And so what's happening is when you engage in abuse, eventually that system is going to turn on you.
Yeah.
Eventually it's going to grow so big. And so that's the poison that's coming back from other people.
Yeah. And in that case, it's maybe not so bad that Biden takes over because it will be more strongly put on. I mean, it's a trick. I mean, it's like a tricky thing. Okay, let them do it. And people will discover now more quickly what is actually going on. So in that case, leave him.
I'm going to end my last comment on CJ Chamming's point, which is choose today who you're going to serve. And
Yes.
to me, that's when these things come to an end, is when it is revealed to people in the apocalypse who they were really serving. And there's nothing wrong with you serving dark energy if you don't know.
Yes.
Once you know that you're serving the abuser in dark energy, you have to step up. You have to change your behavior. And so while I
And then
work
it
in
becomes
corporate
karma.
America,
If you know you're doing wrong, it's karma. If you're ignorant, you're not.
there you go. And I was ignorant of it. And so I engaged in it. But finally, one day I woke up. And so if anybody is waking up today, now is the time for you to actually start to step up. Otherwise, the karma comes back for you. So absolutely.
Yes.
You got to choose today who you will serve now that you can see who you were serving.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, Christine, thanks for joining in. Everybody, thanks for joining.
Thanks.
How to Ching apply to modern times today, part 6. I think most of the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 stayed up. I know that. Well, I think we lost 2 or 3 of them on certain platforms because that's just how it goes. If you're actually speaking truth to power, if you're speaking the truth to ending division, then the advertisers of these platforms have to come for you. The media is driven by advertisement. And so if you are saying honest and truthful things that defy the products that they want to force on the people or sell, then they're going to take those videos away. So I think most of them are still up there. But anyway, this was part 6.
Okay.
Thanks for everybody joining. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye bye.